Welcome to the Heather Penny podcast, where our goal is to help you reach your potential by increasing clarity, building confidence, and engaging courage. Dr. Heather Penny is a leadership coach, trusted advisor, and admired author. I'm Christina Morales, a writer and marketer, and Heather is my dear friend and my coach. The theme for May is the power of friendship, and today we're focusing on being comfortable with your differences. Okay, Heather. Now, this is a great topic to dive into, especially with what's going on in the world right now. I spend a lot of time on social media, for better or worse, because that's my job as a marketer. And it is an angry place right now. I have to admit, I click on all the Wayfair ads because I need some beauty in it and not all these people fighting. I do a lot of online shopping too. But many people, I noticed this week, one of my friends said that she lost a lot of friends because they disagreed with her posts and they were arguing on social media, which is crazy in my mind. So why do you think we're having such a hard time agreeing to disagree? Like, we just can't let it drop. People are so passionate and so angry about their differences. What's going on?
Well, I think one of our basic needs is to get some affirmation and validation. And I think that's what's happening. People are wanting validation on their perspective, but it's really silly and immature, if I can say, to take that validation to some odd stranger or somewhere else that actually disagrees with you. So I think there's a basic need that is fair, use that word, that we all need to be validated. But I think we need to take it to the right places to get the validation, and B, I think we need to be able to hold it ourselves and validate ourselves. I'm really comfortable with the fact that whether it's my religious beliefs or my political beliefs or my personal beliefs about life in general or leadership even, I'm really comfortable with the fact that I like who I am and I can validate my thinking on that. So I have no need to get anyone to think like me, to validate me. I have no need to do that because I'm able to hold that within myself. So disagreements can be fairly comfortable for me. I don't really have any problem with people thinking differently from what I think about. What I do have a problem with is if they want me to agree with them, I go, wait a minute, I don't need validation on how I'm thinking. Why are you wanting me to constantly come to your side of the thinking when reality, how we all think about things is so valuable, and taking the space and the respect to do that is going to make us better people. So I think this need for validation and really this basic false belief of disagreements is something to be feared. I truly believe that differing perspectives is what makes us all better.
Yeah.
So I think those are some basic core values as I watch what's happening. I'm not going to take my need for validation to social media. It'd be really stupid of me, but I am going to take my need for validation to my husband and say, what do you think about this? To some couple close friends, to some clients I respect. Hey, what do you think of my website? What do you think of my book? What do you think about this? What do you think about what I just said on my podcast 3 weeks ago? I mean, yeah, I want some feedback and some validation on it, but I'm not going to take it to people that don't know me or don't really understand the message I want to put in the world.
I just liked what you said, where like differences make us better. If we're all the same, it reminds me of the old movie, The Stepford Wives, where they're all the same. It's our
terrifying.
If we all thought the same, how boring and monotone would that be? So, and we've all heard the saying, opposites attract. Is this true in friendship, or do we tend to gravitate those who are more like us? What do you see in your world and the people who are closest to you?
Yeah, it's an interesting phrase, opposites attract.
I mean, I know it's towards like spouses and things.
Right.
Things like, I wonder if that's with friendships too.
Yeah, I would say more of, I think we look for traits in other people that we know we're not really good in. And I think the more comfortable, the more clarity we have on that, the more comfortable we are. in inviting those type of people in our life. The more uncomfortable we are with what we're not good in, the more we get fearful of anyone who's better in something that we're not good in. So it kind of goes down to this deep sense of security and internal sense of awareness. It's okay if you're not good at, well, let me use myself example. I'm not super good at directions, but my husband, he's like a navigator, knows where he's at every second of the day. I've been known to call him in the middle of some distant place and say, could you help me get home? Or could you help me get to my destination? And he'll just get on his little GPS and navigate me from there. One of my favorite buttons on my car is the go home button. I just push that. It doesn't matter where I'm at in the country. I'm like, go home, just take me home. And I can be hours or even states away and I can just follow the freeways back. So I think this idea of just being comfortable with, yeah, it's not my forte, but I got someone who's really good at it is a great example of that. But what if I'm terrified of the fact that I feel so much shame that I'm not good at that? Then when I work, when I engage with someone else who's really good at it, it might threaten me and I don't want to admit that I'm not good at it. So therefore it's going to create this weird kind of funky dynamic where I can't be honest about something I'm not good in to inviting someone that they are good in it. So then we have these barriers we put up in our relationships. And that's just on directions. Think about everything else. Politics, religious beliefs, personal beliefs, emotional healing. Think about all those other things that are much more complex.
Mm-hmm. So do you think we find our relationships based on like if we are similar spiritually or with our views on life, and not so much with like if someone's a neat freak and someone is laid back, or is it based on our core beliefs?
Yeah, I think it really goes down to your core values. I met my husband really early on. I was 18 years old, and we got married when I was 23. But I think the reason we've stayed married is some of our basic core beliefs are there, like fidelity, commitment, trust, honesty, and even a belief religiously or even spiritually. We might have different thinking on things, but we have a deep sense that there is a higher power that's a loving power that's for us. And when we need that power, we can reach out. Yeah, so these are some basic core beliefs that I think have kept us together, because we're two very strong individuals and we brought our own baggage to a relationship. And after 27 plus years of marriage now, to be able to, the statistics show that a lot of marriages, when they're married before 25, over 50%, it might even be higher, 75%, but they're ending in divorce. Why? Because we were so young and we grow up. I mean, think about who you are at 23 and now who I am now is 51. I'm a very different person. And I count myself very lucky that I attracted someone with deep core values, because I think that's why we're still married. So in a funny way too, I don't judge other people that they grew out of their marriage because maybe it wasn't their core values that were attracted to one another. And so it got really messy along the way. And the best gift they could give each other was to part ways and go find someone with core values. So I think just kind of honoring and recognizing your own core values will allow you to step into relationships, whether it's friends or spouses or working relationships that share similar values. One of mine is, even with clients, is it's just honesty and respect. You just got to be honest with me and I'm going to be honest with you, and it's got to be done respectfully. It's just basic core values. If someone's going to be deceitful with themselves or with the company or with their team or with me, there's nothing I can do about that. That's a character issue, and it's a core value that I won't be able to do the work that I need to do with that company if that person can't commit to that. And I've worked with all types of leaders, and that's kind of what I say up front. I'm going to be honest with you. You can be honest with me, and it's all going to be handled with respect. And I expect respect as well. So let's get going. So it's a very basic core value, but I'm upfront with it because I want to make sure that there's this understanding that if this isn't in place, I won't be able to serve you, and you won't get anything out of this relationship, this coaching relationship.
And we've talked a lot about having friends, a few core friends in our inner circle. If someone is in my outer circle and we disagree, I let it slide because I'm like, yeah, it's not worth fighting for. It's not worth getting all upset. You're in my outer circle. But if someone's in my inner circle, that's a different ball game. When is it time to discuss and hash out something? And when is it time to let something slide in your inner circle? And we talked a little bit about this with trust too in our last episode. So, like, are they ready to hear it or not? But when should we dig in and have that fight about our differences, or that I don't even want to say fight, discussion? What's the right word here?
Well, how important is it to be on the same page is always the question I ask.
Okay.
And then the other question I ask is, what's the energy level you have to talk about it? And what's the energy level that other person has to talk about it? You kind of assess that. And then when is the best time to talk about it? You know, I think we've talked about this other podcast going, nothing good comes out of a 9 p.m. after 9 p.m. conversation in our marriage. Once we realize that, we're like, we're tired, we're exhausted from the day, we live big, full lives. It's not the time to tackle a conversation, whether it's about money or kids or differences or disagreements. So there's so many environmental kind of external circumstances around when we have these discussions of differences. But first and foremost, you really need to have it. There's some things that my husband and I don't fully agree on, and we're fine with it. You know, whether it's politics or whether it's our personal beliefs, it doesn't need to have an agreement on it. Even just styles of parenting could be a little different. But behind closed doors, we make sure that we are a united front and we talk about it. I'm going to use the idea of parenting. Being able to step into that and make sure that we are, the whole value is to empower our children to live authentic, true lives. So may I come on a little too strong sometimes? Yeah, maybe he does as well. We noticed this we have a son and a daughter. I was a little harder on my daughter and a little softer on my son. He was a little harder on his son and a little softer on the daughter. And we had to have that discussion behind closed doors where I looked at him, I go, you're letting her get away with everything. So I was then saying, you know, I was getting on a little stronger with her. And vice versa. He goes, well, you're letting him get away with everything, you know? So we kind of had that disagreement behind closed doors and realized, okay, how do we meet in the middle? Which is, okay, you're right. I get to pull back a little bit from her and I'm going to hold the line a little bit more with him. And he made that agreement as well. And so then we were able to step back into our parenting with United Front and recognize it wasn't so much about a disagreement of I get to do it this way. That becomes a power struggle. I don't want to do it my way, but I have an observation. He has an observation. And more importantly, I want to come to a middle ground. And then it also revealed, well, here's what I need in order to hold my ground with my son. And he was saying, well, here's what I need in order to hold my ground with my daughter. So then we were able to support that position. So the disagreement can be the beginning of understanding why something's happening. If we just stay stuck in a disagreement, we're not committed to getting to common ground. That's where the relationship starts breaking down. That's what we're seeing in politics, right? There's a lack of commitment to get to common ground. And so we've created more and more divides. And I think the voices that are starting to come out about politics are powerful. They're saying, I think we can build bridges. It's less about voting for a party and more about remembering that we're all part of humanity. Those are the voices I'm listening to, whether it's politics or religion or anything else. I'm curious about these voices that are committed to building bridges.
That's really good. And speaking of disagreements, like I'm part of a leadership team and we always talk about leadership principles and new books that we're reading on leadership. And we had an interesting conversation about harmony versus unity. Like we don't have to agree in everything. And it's better if we don't, because we're forced to think through our ideas, defend our ideas, think out our strategies and grow. We don't have to have harmony and agree, but we do have to have unity. We need to be devoted and work together with respect to reach the common goal that we all have together. So what's your take on this leadership concept, and how do you bring it in as you coach a lot of leadership executives? And we talked too about we're a leader in our own world too. So yeah, what do you think of unity versus harmony?
Wow, that's a great question. I'm already thinking of a company right now in my mind, and there's a term we started using in our leadership development, which is, frankly, it's united front. And I've loved that term because we're allowed to disagree. Nobody wants puppet leaders in the company, but ultimately, at the end of the day, we have to have a united front and pull in the same direction. Otherwise, we will not achieve the results that we want for this company. And sometimes, my work with the corporate America and different leadership groups, I love it because it's so black and white. We are here and we have to make money, right? So I like to use some of the principles I'm learning over there in corporate America and apply it over into the home or into our personal lives and saying, what is it you're moving towards? Sometimes parents forget that. And I want to say, wait a minute, you're the only two adults in the home. It's your job to get results. Your kids can't get it. It's your job to get results on a thriving, functioning marriage and home and relationships. That's your job. Just like you were monitoring a P&L and the revenue and profit and loss and revenue generating events over in corporate America, we have results that we're all needing to get to. How we define those results allow us to start navigating the conversations and the relationships that move us not just on harmony, but into a united front to move either the company forward or the family forward. And if we're only trying to focus on harmony, we will not get results. We'll be happy that the boat's not getting rocked, but we're avoiding conversations. We're not stepping into building trust in our personal relationships or our professional relationships, but we got harmony. Well, you know what? You're not going to get the success that you want. The moving into success and getting the results that you want. Yes, it needs a united front, but that's a much higher standard than just having harmony. We have to deal with levels of commitment. We have to deal with constructive conflict. We have to deal with accountability. We have to deal with trust building. These are some basic things we have to deal with in our personal lives and our professional lives in order to get results. So united front is connected to a results-oriented life. Harmony is connected to everyone just being happy.
And you don't get to that deeper level. We were talking about that with trust too. Like if you just are a people pleaser and you smile and you have harmony, well, then you have that inner turmoil in you that you never let out. And then you break the relationship. But if you fight over it, then it ends up, you get closer and stronger in the end. So I love that you said that.
Yeah, exactly. I think what I tell people to help them understand, not to be scared that they're not having harmony. I just say, well, in order for relationships to grow in intimacy, conflict is necessary. Mm-hmm. Now, you never have to take abuse. It doesn't have to be destructive, but constructive conflict is what's going to help us grow as human beings. Most people don't understand what constructive conflict is, whether it's in the marriage, in the home, with your teenagers, or whether it's with corporate America and professional lives. That is still a pretty elusive concept, which is why I came up with this whole grace space. Mm-hmm. That's the way we do constructive conflict. That's the way we hold ourselves accountable and hold other people accountable. That's how we build trust. It comes out of a space of grace, not out of a space of fear or obligation or guilt or shame. And I think that allows us to move away from just trying to do harmony and more into, we need a united front. Mm-hmm. The united front that we have in our home is, we're all going to be better humans because we've lived this life together. It's kind of simple. And so we're going to grow and we're going to learn from one another. I'm a student of my 16-year-old son, but guess what? I expect to be a student of his 51-year-old mother. So we have a mutually expectation there that we've set, and success for us will look like we have all been better people because we chose to live together. Same thing when corporate America, understanding what our expectations are and what success will look like once we move out of this. Just trying to achieve harmony is not good enough. We will not get results. Mm-hmm. We might have a nice little kind of kumbaya circle, mm-hmm. but we're not going to get the results we want. And if you're going after high level results and high levels of success, we have to learn how to start navigating all the things that come with a united front, with unity in this home, in the workplace.
Mm-hmm. One aha moment I had earlier in like some of our early podcasts, like a year ago, was a lot of my inner pain came from not being heard. And so even though we have a different idea, just being heard saying, yeah, I hear you. I hear you. I understand this is your viewpoint. I don't agree with it, but I understand your perspective. Like that can go so far.
Yeah, Christina, I'm glad you brought that up, because if you're taking that pain to social media, that's only going to make it feel more exploited and uncared for. Learning how to take that need for validation and being heard to safe relationships is going to grow your internal sense of a presence in this world. And you're going to say, wait a minute, I'm not taking it to social media. I'm going to take this concept and this idea to someone who's going to value. They may not necessarily agree with me, but they're going to value what you're saying and what you're thinking and what you're believing. And they're going to show respect for you as a human being, that you have your own thought process. They may want to respectfully push back on it. They may want to offer some other thoughts or ideas, but they're not going to try and control you or change you and demand that you come and think the way they think. So I think understanding that's really great self-awareness on your part, understanding that that's something that you need. So you don't want to try and mess with that on social media when you're needing to do this in your own personal life.
And so final question, what does respecting our differences look like? You referenced grace space. How do we show grace in the real world with our differences? Should we just if we don't want to talk about a topic, let's say someone brings up politics or whether or not you should get the vaccine. Should we just say, you know what, I have my opinion, you have yours. Let's not discuss this. Or how do we shut it down if it's something volatile that we don't feel like we're able to discuss, or we want to go there?
I've got a funny technique I do. I don't know if this is necessarily right or wrong, but it's my style.
Okay.
I just do this. I do it what I call the smile and nod. I really don't care. You know what I mean? Like, they want to tell me something and I don't care what they think. What I do care about, I care that you feel heard. So I'm just going to smile and nod, because the moment I start reacting to, well, that's not what I think, then we start engaging in this defensive posture. And what I truly care about is that this person feels heard. I've had people tell me the craziest stuff, and I do the smile and nod going, oh, wow, I really have no opinion on that in my own life.
Yeah.
What's important here is that you're trying to get heard on something, and that's what I care about.
Right.
Now, if it's really off the wall, and I feel like I've had this before too, where I can feel it triggering me, and I can feel the internal side, like I'm getting angry inside. If that is happening, there's a couple of things I can do, which is I just kind of wrap up the conversation and redirect. I'll be something like, wow, okay, well, those are some good thoughts. What I really wanted to put on the table today was, and I just move it into another direction, because I know they're focused on presenting their viewpoint, and I don't want to engage there. I want to engage somewhere else, and I unapologetically redirect it. If they want to come back and circle around on it, I might be a little more assertive, saying, yeah, it's not really what I want to talk about today. Can we talk about this? I ask permission to talk about something, and then they go, oh, yeah, I guess I don't want to talk about it either. Let's talk about that too. So I don't let myself stay in something too long if it's starting to feel like life draining, or it's really getting me angry. And occasionally I will react. I talk to people all day long, and there was, I remember I was hungry, I was tired. This was several months ago. I had two gentlemen on the line, and they were talking about something, and it was just, they said what to her? It was triggering me of what was happening to a female employee in the company. And I just was like, I don't like what I'm hearing, and I could feel myself overreacting, and there was a couple things going on. I was tired. I couldn't believe this was happening. Of course, it's hitting my own personal buttons, all these things, right? And the two gentlemen, I love these leaders. They're wonderful leaders. They were real quiet, because they could tell this is kind of a strong reaction that Heather's having. We're not sure what to do about it. And he kind of teased me back about it. And I was listening to myself, and then I just started laughing. I said, yeah, sorry that, I think I'm overreacting a little bit right now. Like, I can feel it. And I don't think I said overreacting, because I don't like to use that term more, but I said something like, yeah, I think I'm getting triggered here. Yeah. And I kind of laughed, because the safety between us is high. The trust is high between us. And then I heard my words a little later on. I could hear how strong they sounded. And I shot over an email to both of them. You know, whenever I mess up in front of people, whoever is there, everybody gets the apology, not just one person. It's kind of my policy. So I shot over an email to both gentlemen, and they shot back saying, "Oh, we totally understand. Thanks for telling us. We were a little nervous." They were getting nervous at my intensity. Like they started feeling like they were doing something wrong. I was so glad I apologized because they weren't doing anything wrong. I was just getting irritated at the scenario that was unfolding in front of me. I wanted to react to it, tell everybody, knock it off, you know, so not helpful in the moment. And at the same hand, grace to myself that says, "Oh, Heather, that's a story that feels very familiar to you as a female leader. You get to own that. You get to be okay with that. And you get to trust that they're going to be okay with your apology, and we're all going to be better for it." And I do believe we were better for it because I stepped into it, didn't spend too much time on it, but apologized how it was triggering me. And then we move forward together.
That's perfect. And that's all the time we have for today. I love the message you're bringing, because this is like, there's so many issues and so many ways that we don't know how to handle our differences and communicate properly. And you're giving tools to the world to hopefully people are listening. Well, I know they are. We have over 1,200 downloads. So your message.
I know, it's amazing. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Yeah, it's so relevant. And we're all so hungry to say, how do we get along with each other? It's not working. How do we do this? And you're giving
how do we get along? I'm sorry, Christina, I just want to mention, how do we get along but not give up our sense of self? I think that's the biggest fear. If I agree, I'm giving up my sense of self. And I want to tell everybody, you're not giving up your sense of self. You get to hang on to you. You get to smile and nod. You get to disagree. You get to walk away. You get to look for validation where you need to. It's all going to be okay, folks.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. If we better ourselves and we can show people how to do it, I mean, gosh, yeah, there's so much potential there.
Yes.
So join us next week when we talk about the power of friendship, the pains of friendship. We're really going deep in these.
We need to. We're talking a lot about friendships.
Yeah, I mean, no one else is talking about it, and no one else is giving tools on how to have healthy friendships. So this is so important.
Yeah, and I can't believe how much is playing out in the professional world and the personal world. It's a critical component everywhere. Everywhere I'm working. So how we navigate friendships in the professional workplace and in the personal world, man, it's part of all my conversations, more than I ever anticipated when I moved more into leadership coaching. Isn't that fascinating?
That's awesome.
I had an emergency call yesterday of just someone trying to navigate a friendship in the workplace. And it was beautiful because it was out of a deep love for her colleague. And I just loved it. But the intensity was so high that she was scared that she wasn't going to handle it well. And I thought, well done at being aware and reaching out. And I kind of coached her through it of how to support her appropriately in the workplace. So it was out of not disagreement, but out of a deep loyalty and a deep commitment and deep love to this colleague in the workplace. So it's everywhere. And I think how we navigate friendships, either needing to grow trust in it or honestly needing to put more boundaries down and pull back a little bit, it's the best gift we give every friendship.
So true.
So now we can end.
Okay. Yeah, you got a couple extra minutes for free there, which is awesome. Please subscribe to the Heather Penny podcast and leave a great review. And for questions, comments, and resources, visit our new website, heatherpenny.com. Remember to live your best life. You have to live intentionally. Have a great day, and we can't wait for you to join us next week. Thanks, Heather.
You're welcome. Take care, everyone.